Okay, so I had a patient the other day and their grandmother, or I'm assuming their grandmother, was in the room. And the baby wasn't that old, maybe an hour or two, not old at all. Mom was still doing skin to skin. Baby still looked very newbornish. So there was some blood, there was some vernix. Baby looked very normal, healthy, sweet little baby. And grandma looked at me and immediately said, "Y'all haven't given that baby a bath yet." And I was like, "No, we don't do that anymore right after they're born. We wait at least 12 to 24 hours. And honestly, me as a nurse, I prefer to wait even longer, but that just depends on what mom and dad want." And she turned around to what I'm assuming was more family members in the room, I'm not really sure, and was like, "This is what's wrong with nurses these days. They're just so lazy." And my jaw tried to drop. I tried to remain composed. I get a lot of interesting comments, but I was like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I am telling this mom is accurate and it's truth, and she can do with that information what she wants. I don't care if you want to give your baby a bath quicker, but here's why I said that. So even when I had my first child 8 years ago, it was like immediate bath. They weighed her, they bathed her, they did all of those things. And with my last baby 2 years ago, we did not do that anymore. And here is why. Number one, baths stress babies out. They just came out of a bagel-sized hole or a little, cut in your belly. They've had a long journey. They've been squished and smushed and just taken completely out of what they know and thrown into the world. So obviously we want to let them remain a little bit calm before we submerge them in lukewarm to cold water and then put a smell on them that they've never smelled before. I get that. I get that. That's fair. That's fair. Also, babies that have trouble holding their temperature, which are also usually correlated to our gestational diabetic moms or diabetes moms, or any baby that has a weight issue and they can't keep their sugars quite up, usually have a hard time also keeping their temperature up. So the best thing for them is to be on mom's chest. It's not to put them in a bathtub and clean them up, because again, it stresses them out, which is going to make their sugars go wonk, and it's going to make them cold, and that also makes their sugars go down, which is really hard to get a baby sugar back up. Number three, and maybe my favorite, most sweet little, I don't know, I love this. You can do what you want with it, but I posted about this on my Instagram yesterday, and how baby's sense of smell when they are born is completely formed, which, as we know, their eyesight is not, and obviously their sense of touch, all of those things take a while to get perfected, but their smell is perfected, which I think is so cool because they can smell mom. They've been inside of mom, they know mom's smell, they also know the rhythm of her heartbeat, and everything about mom is comfort. And so if we are going to put them in a bathtub and take all of that smell, all of that vernix, all of that blood, everything from mom that mom has given that baby, and wash it off, we're taking another layer of comfort away from baby and putting this lotion that smells good to us, but that's not comforting to them. So there's that. And another thing is, we're learning more and more all the time about vernix. So vernix is that white, cheesy, thick substance on baby. It's usually in their armpits or their folds or their neck. It depends on how far along you are when you have your baby, so usually how much they have on them. A few years ago, again, we were washing that off, taking it off. Now I try not to at all, because what we're finding is that is actually helping their sugar again, their stability just in those first few hours just help stabilize their temperatures, their sugars, they're just everything about them, their homeostasis. Also, it is a bacteria fighting agent. So it gets reabsorbed into the skin by itself without me ever washing it off. So what I tell parents is that has a purpose, and the purpose is to fight off bacteria that may or may not be on baby when baby is born, and it will be absorbed back into baby's skin. Now, of course, that depends on how much baby has to how long that's going to take, but I thought these were all such amazing reasons. So I did not enlighten grandma on those reasons, but I did tell mom and dad later on that day of why I was not being lazy, and these are the reasons medically, I guess you would say, why we don't give babies a bath right off the bat anymore. Again, I give parents that information and they can do what they want with that. That is completely up to them. I have parents that don't even wash baby for weeks on end, and I think that's totally appropriate and fine as well. It's just what is up to you. So take that as you will. I promise we're not being lazy. There is a rhythm to our madness, I promise. So there's your information on baby's bath in the hospital.